ನಮ್ಮ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದ ಮುಂದಿನ ಘಟ್ಟ ಆ ಸಸಿಗೆ ನೀರನ್ನು ಉಣಿಸುವ ಮೂಲಕ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಕ್ಕೆ ಚಾಲನೆ ಕೊಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಗಣ್ಯಮಾನ್ಯರಿಗೆ ನಾನು ವಿನಂತಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. ಜಸ್ಟಿಸ್ ಶ್ರೀ ಸುಭಾಷ್ ಬಿಯಡಿ, ಮಾನ್ಯ ಮುಖ್ಯ ಆಯುಕ್ತರಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಶ್ರೀ ಗೌರವ್ ಗುಪ್ತಾ ಅವರು, ರಮಾಕಾಂತ್ ದೇಸಾಯಿ ಅವರು, ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಹರೀಶ್ ಕುಮಾರ್ ಅವರು, ಶ್ರೀನಿವಾಸನ್ ಅವರು, ಎಲ್ಲ ಗಣ್ಯರಿಗೆ ನಾನು ವಿನಂತಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. ದಯಮಾಡಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕಡೆ ನಡೀತಾ ಇದೆ. ಆ ಹಸರನ್ನು ಉಳಿಸೋಣ. ಬೆಂಗಳೂರು ನಗರವನ್ನ ಗಾರ್ಡನ್ ಸಿಟಿಯಾಗಿ ಸ್ಥಾಪನೆ ಮಾಡಬೇಕೆಂಬುದೇ ನಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರ ಉದ್ದೇಶ. ಮಾಧ್ಯಮದವರೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ ಅವಕಾಶ ಇದೆ. ಆ ಸಸಿ ಹಿಮ್ಮರವಾಗಿ ಬೆಳೀಲಿ. ನಮ್ಮ ಆಸೆ ಆಶೋತ್ತರಗಳೆಲ್ಲ ಹಿಮ್ಮರವಾಗಿ ಬೆಳೀಲಿ. ನಾವು ಅಂದ್ಕೊಂಡಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದ ಸದುದ್ದೇಶವೂ ಕೂಡ ನಿಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರ ಪ್ರೀತಿಯ ಹಾರೈಕೆಯೊಂದಿಗೆ ಬೆಂಗಳೂರು ನಗರ ಸ್ವಚ್ಛತೆ ಆ ಹಾದಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಸಾಗಲಿ. ನಾಗರಿಕರೆಲ್ಲರೂ ಕೂಡ ಜೊತೆಗೂಡಿಸಬೇಕು. ಒಬ್ಬರ ಕೈನಲ್ಲಿ ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಯಾವುದೇ ಯೋಜನೆ ಯಶಸ್ವಿಯಾಗಬೇಕಾದರೆ ಎಲ್ಲರ ಪಾಲುದಾರಿಕೆ ಬಹಳ ಮುಖ್ಯ. ವಿ ಆರ್ ದಿ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ನರ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿಸ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಗ್ಳೂರ್ ಅನ್ನೋ ಭಾವನೆ ನಮಗೆ ಬರಬೇಕು. ಆರ್ ಆಲ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ನರ್ಸ್. ಈ ಬೆಂಗಳೂರು ಕಟ್ಟೋದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವೆಲ್ಲರೂ ಕೂಡ ಪಾಲ್ದಾರರಾಗಬೇಕು. ಮಾರ್ಗದರ್ಶನದ ಅವಶ್ಯಕತೆ ಇದೆ, ತಿಳುವಳಿಕೆ ಅವಶ್ಯಕತೆ ಇದೆ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಆ ತಿಳುವಳಿಕೆ ಕೊಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ, ಮಾರ್ಗದರ್ಶನ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಗಣ್ಯಮಾನ್ಯರಿಗಾಗಲಿ ಆಗಮಿಸಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಕೈಪಿಡಿಯನ್ನು ಬಿಡುಗಡೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಒಂದು ಸಂದರ್ಭ ಸರ್. ಈಗ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ಉಚ್ಚ ನ್ಯಾಯಾಲಯದ ನಿವೃತ್ತ ನ್ಯಾಯಮೂರ್ತಿಗಳು, ನಿವೃತ್ತ ಉಪ ಲೋಕಾಯುಕ್ತರು, ಪ್ರಸ್ತುತ ರಾಷ್ಟ್ರೀಯ ಹಸಿರು ನ್ಯಾಯಾಧೀಕರಣ ರಾಜ್ಯ ಮಟ್ಟದ ಸಮಿತಿಯ ಅಧ್ಯಕ್ಷರಾದಂಥ ಶ್ರೀ ಸುಭಾಷ್ ಬಿ ಅಡಿ ಅವರಿಂದ ಮತ್ತು ಮಾನ್ಯ ಮುಖ್ಯ ಆಯುಕ್ತರಾಗಿರುವಂಥ ಶ್ರೀ ಗೌರವ್ ಗುಪ್ತಾ ಅವರು ಜೊತೆಗೂಡಿ ಈ ಕೈಪಿಡಿಯನ್ನು, ಬಹುಶಃ ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಮಾಹಿತಿಯನ್ನು ನಿಮಗೆ ಲಭ್ಯವಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸ್ವಚ್ಛತೆಗೆ ಒಂದೇ ದಾರಿ, ಬೆಂಗಳೂರು ನಂದು ಅಂತ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಡ್ಬೇಕು. ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಬ್ಬರು ನಂದು ತಿಳ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ ಆಟೋಮೆಟಿಕ್ ಆಗಿ ಬೆಂಗಳೂರು ಸ್ವಚ್ಛ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಬಾಡಿಗೆ ಮನೇಲಿದ್ದಕ್ಕೂ ಸ್ವಂತ ಮನೆಗೂ ಎಷ್ಟು ವ್ಯತ್ಯಾಸ ಇದೆಯೋ ಹಾಗೆ ನಾವು ಬಾಡಿಗೆ ಮನೇಲಿಲ್ಲ, ಬೆಂಗಳೂರು ನಂದು, ಸ್ವಂತ ಬೆಂಗಳೂರು ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ ಬೆಂಗಳೂರು ತನ್ನಷ್ಟಕ್ಕೆ ತಾನೇ ಅದು ಸ್ವಚ್ಛತೆ ಆಗೋದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವುದೇ ಅನುಮಾನ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಆ ಕೈಪಿಡಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಮಾಹಿತಿಯನ್ನು ಒಳಗೊಂಡಂತ ವಿಶೇಷವಾದಂಥ ಬರಹ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮಗೆ ಲಭ್ಯವಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ಕೈಪಿಡಿಯನ್ನು ಬಿಡುಗಡೆ ಮಾಡಿದಂಥ ಜಸ್ಟಿಸ್ ಬಿ ಸುಭಾಷ್ ಅಡಿಯವರಿಗೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಪ್ರೀತಿಯ ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳನ್ನು ಅರ್ಪಣೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ, ಅವರ ಮಾತನ್ನು ಆಲಿಸಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ನಾನು ಕಾಯ್ತಿದ್ದೀನಿ, ನೀವು ಕಾಯ್ತಿದ್ದೀರಾ. ಇದೋ ಜೋರಾಗಿ ಚಪ್ಪಾಳೆ ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಅವರನ್ನು
Respected Gaurav Gupta ji, Chief Commissioner of the Bengaluru Mahanagarpalike, Bharat Mahanagarpalike, respected Harish, respected Randeep, respected Srinivasalu, Member Secretary, Karnataka State Pollution Control Board, the other commissioners of BBMP, joint commissioners and other staff, and most important, the vibrant citizens of this beautiful Bangalore. Now, we are all assembled here. Make our own city beautiful and bring back the glory which it has enriched earlier. Particularly, Bangalore was known as a garden city, lake city. And if you look at the old map and look at the number of lakes as Upalakakta had an occasion to work with the BBMP and other departments also. Thousands of lakes are connected to each other without any small percentage of lighting, because they were all connected each other and last it connected to the rivers. Anyway, that has gone. Now coming to the subject, as the solid waste management is concerned, this is the most important. Now, all of us, we have dressed neatly to look beautiful. You want your city to look beautiful, then you need to clean it. Then you need to work for the city itself. Now, here we are thinking of micro-level citizens' participation with the local bodies, officers and workers. Chief Commissioner referred to Al-Mitra Patel, and Ramakant is here, he has worked with me. And Al-Mitra frequently she worked with me, but for the COVID we had not met. She is the lady, maybe she is post 80s. She went to Supreme Court, she filed a PIL, lot of discussion, lot of committees were constituted. Ultimately, 2016, the rules were framed under the Environment Protection Act. These rules are applicable to entire country. After the rules were framed, when the monitoring was done by some of the committees constituted by the Supreme Court, and thereafter they transferred it to the National Green Tribunal, it was found it was not enough. And it is in 2019, January 16th, the NGT passed constituting a state level monitoring committee for the purpose of solid waste management. Now, NGT is constituted to maintain the environment. Primarily, it's concerned with the environment, protection of forest, protection of lakes, protection of river, protection of the cities, the removal of the garbage, removal, all these things, whichever is dangerous to the environment. Now, under the rules, I am not talking anything new. Now, we are now here to talk about the citizens' participation. But even the rules, if we look at it, under the Rule 4, it is not only citizen, everyone has a primary responsibility. Even the rules are arranged in such a way that it starts with the responsibility of each of us. Now, whoever generates the waste, it is his responsibility. It is in this connection, in June 5th, the World Environment Day, 2019, surprise is here, we had a function in which the Governor and His Excellency Governor then and Chief Justice, they inaugurated, particularly referring to the solid waste management for purpose of this Karnataka, our Karnataka, and with the slogan, "My waste, my responsibility, nanna kasa, nanna jawabdari anta." This is what they started. In fact, up to end of 2019 or beginning of 2020, things were moving very fast. Unfortunately, we were attacked by this pandemic, and this is how we could not seriously work for more than 1 year. Now, unless the citizen participation is there, unless the citizens themselves take the responsibility, any amount of the local body's effort would not justify for which it is constituted. The citizens' participation is most important, and as mentioned by the Gaurav Gupta ji, that unless, and he is trying best to bring it to the citizens and put them on the responsibility, put them to the take the responsibility of the city. Now, it is not just monitoring, it is actual participation. And most of the NGOs I know, most of the NGOs who have met me and with whom I have interacted, it may be Dr. Shanti, it may be Ramakant or Almitra or many, even some of the outside Bengaluru also, there are a lot of NGOs, those who come here. Now, what we need to first start with is, we need to make everyone understand what is their responsibility, not just because that is the responsibility, social responsibility, but responsibility legally. It is legal responsibility, it is not just responsibility. There is a law which binds them. They are supposed to do certain things. If you look at the rule, every house is required to segregate the solid waste in 3 components, that is the mandatory. There is no question of any local body worker to lift the waste, mixed waste from any domestic. And failure is also, there is a penal consequences also. Penal consequences are there not only for the citizens but also for the local bodies also. So there are a lot of responsibilities legally fixed, because legally fixed is the reason, because people did not mend themselves, then it becomes the legal, the sword has to come and there has to be some action. Now, mandatorily, every household is required to segregate the waste into 3 components: wet, dry and hazardous waste. Hazardous includes the medical waste, other waste which cannot be degraded and which cannot be otherwise cured. this is the primary responsibility. And there are various class of generations. Each one has a responsibility. It may be some event taking place, it may be marriage, it may be bulk generator, it may be industry, it may be other generator. Everyone has a responsibility. The second part is, apart from segregation, what rule emphasizes is that at source, you must treat this waste at source. That is, for example, which I made in the last meeting, we discussed with the officials of the BBNT and others also, and high-level committee also. What is there? See, we have got different kinds of the living system. Maybe affluent people have a bigger site, smaller site, density of population, many things. But if I have a bigger site, I have a facility, why should my waste go to the local body? Why should they carry? You cannot treat it. That's also under the rules. You must, at the source, as far as possible, you try to the composting or dry waste. There are other methods of using. Now, yesterday in the Mysore district, they want to make it plastic free. The one with Randeep was the DC there. Now, the Mysore, they want to make it plastic free. Maybe it is difficult, but the initiative is there. The citizens' initiative is there. Now, this also we tried at Bengaluru. By end of 19, most of the areas, it was almost 60 to 70% of the plastic free. And we took 1 or 2 wards to make it complete plastic free. And this is where participation of citizens is necessary. It is not the only officers who will work. Now what I want is all the people, wherever we micro level, block level, ward level, or zonal level, or at the higher level, every person who generates the waste must have that responsibility. Secondly, he must be aware of the rules and consequences also. This awareness is most important. And there is a simple method. Yesterday when I was talking to the commissioner and others in Mysore, I said the local body is a self-government. Where is the question of government funding to the local body? It must generate its income. And the waste itself, there is a source to generate the income. There is a source to increase the revenue. There is no question of collecting. If you take the compost, the wet waste, segregation is high, wet waste has a value. Wet waste, if you properly process it, you get a quality compost. And there is a rule where the central ministry, particularly chemical and fertilizer ministry, has to aid, has to take that responsibility. But we are lacking it. Any person who is generating maximum, for example, all of you are very accustomed because even the Gaurav Gupta mentioned, technology is improving and we are now using online and every business is online. But at the same time, the delivery system of lot of materials comes in the wrapped manner and lot of garbage. But they have also responsibility. There is a responsibility to collect back. If they don't collect back, there is a possibility of the revenue which can be generated from them. There are many sources where even the local body generates income out of that. And 1 or 2, even Mysore, yesterday I verified, Mysore is producing very quality compost. And there are small towns and villages where the compost is prepared, there is a high demand, and the government itself will purchase it. The agriculture department will purchase the compost generated by the local body or the apartment cluster of apartments or a group of housing. Now only we need to innovate our ideas. Particularly Bengaluru has got several gated communities. Several government quarters are there. Put everyone on responsibility. Police quarters, thousands of police quarters, bank colonies, lot of people. See, these things, they must be put on. This is where this responsibility comes. They must be put on terms. They must segregate, they must process, and what reject should not be more than 15%. So that reject alone should go to the landfill or sanitary fill. There is nothing like going to the sanitary fill. Mixed waste going to the landfill is an offence. It's an offence punishable under section 15 of the Environment Act. Not only anybody doing it privately, but also local bodies, which Srinivas will He knows it and he has initiated proceedings also. And the High Court is also monitoring it. So, as a vibrant citizens, including me, we all need to work wherever we are. We have to work at the street level, work at the block level, work at the ward level, but our work must be honest and sincere. There should not be other means, other areas where we should be attracted. What we need is honest and sincere, responsible citizen to take forward this Bengaluru as per rules itself to way back to our glorious, beautiful Bengaluru. Now, this was even the Chief Justice who was recently come then. He mentioned it because when he was a Bombay High Court judge, he brought the Thana. Thana is the district in Maharashtra abutting the Mumbai. He made the lake city. He converted it to lake city. He rejuvenated all the lakes. A lot of pain he took personally as a judge. So there is a possibility. He promised me that we will also see that the Bengaluru also changes. Anyway, it is not the job of the judiciary, but I will mention all the constitutional wings, whether it is parliament, whether it is executive, or whether it is the judiciary, all are working. Because as far as this is concerned, environment is concerned, it has a primary responsibility of this country, and every government is working on that. And my request for all of you is, as a vibrant citizen, not only you have to create a channel of the team who will also work and see that the Bengaluru is brought back to the same position what it was earlier. And we need to take forward the city, because in Karnataka, 50%, 11,000 and odd metric tons of waste which is generated in Karnataka, 50% is in Bengaluru. Now the 50%, out of 50%, if this is going to the landfill, I must give the figures also. You know, the legacy waste in Karnataka, it runs into lakhs of tons. Bengaluru itself may be having 90 lakhs tons legacy waste. How do you remedy it? How do you remedy it? It's a big task. But Baroda, one example of Baroda is Baroda, where there was also similar situation, but they cleared the legacy waste. But what they spent around 40 to 50 crores, they got 400 crores property back, because that was the property occupied by the legacy waste. Even in Bengaluru also, hundreds of acres, if I am correct, hundreds of acres is lying only occupied by the legacy waste. But there needs to be resource also. But what do we need? At least from onwards, we will see that nothing goes as a legacy waste. Nothing goes to the landfill, and everything is processed. In fact, we started with an idea, ward level also. Decentralization of all processing, as far as possible, decentralize, minimize the expenditure, and put every citizen on responsibility, ward-wise processing, ward-wise segregation, dry waste. There is a lot of dry waste value, with the recycling material or reusable material, metals, everything. Only the RDF, for which also there is a demand. So if you look at the waste, every waste has its value, but there is a need proper understanding of this processing. This needs, every citizen must take responsibility that he will not mix the waste. He will not mix the waste, give the mixed waste. He will see that segregated waste is, if it is possible for him to use the wet waste and process it in the compound itself, because it doesn't require much efforts also. I do it because with the help of the government, I am doing it. I get the manure. This is where every citizen, whoever is possible, reduce, because the object of hierarchy of the waste is, first is you have to reduce, then is reuse, then is recycle, then prevent. You have to use the prevention generation. So I will not take much time, because most of when time is short also. I wish the citizens' participation does something to the Bengaluru, and they take this city forward and bring the city once again back as a beautiful city, garden city, lake city, and everyone should come to enjoy Bengaluru. Thank you very much.